you want to save a couple years of frustration or avoid some of the costly mistakes that I made in my late 20s, well, this video is for you. Here are 5 things I wish I knew at 25, and whether you're 24, 25, 26, really it's a life stage that I want to address with this. So this is going to be taken through the lens of health and fitness, but everything is connected, so we'll definitely dive into relationships and career as well. So the first thing I would focus on is laying your foundation. Now, what I mean by this is that it is much harder from a physical health standpoint to build muscle, to work on your mobility, to overcome injuries as you get into your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. You're gonna start to see a muscle decline in your 40s. You're gonna see a decline after your 30s on how much heart or how much blood that your heart can pump. And so when you go and establish a very high foundation, the height of that foundation is what you are going to be living off for that period of time afterwards. So a couple examples as well, just from a finance standpoint, right? You want to save, build your foundation there in investing. From a relationship standpoint, this is where you're building a lot of your skills, a lot of your beliefs around communication, that once you develop your fully functioned brain after 25, that is your foundation. And so first thing that I would say is make it easy on yourself once you do have kids, once you do have more responsibility. Because if you can focus on your 20s, 25, 26, 27, building a body, building a physique, building a health base that enables you to then go and maintain that much easier at 30. I work with so many people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and they're trying to just make it back to a point to where they aren't in pain, to where they aren't extremely overweight. And that can all be mitigated by simply creating a foundation in this period of time. Number 2, you want to limit your drinking. This is one where it is really hard, especially in your mid-20s, especially coming out of college, where you are just wanting to party, wanting to have fun all the time. And definitely go and enjoy that. Go and have that time. I went and spent time in Europe. I went and did some crazy things. But now looking back, anytime I had any bit of momentum, drinking impacted it. You can check out this video here where I go through how drinking impacts you in 5 different ways, and really the 5 benefits of taking a break from drinking, because it's going to impact you for 2 to 6 months. According to Andrew Huberman on the Huberman Lab podcast, it takes 2 to 6 months to be able to recover from the cognitive declining effects of alcohol and reset a lot of that neural circuitry. So when you take a break from drinking, really what you're enabling yourself to do is build momentum. And right now it's the playoffs, it's in January, and so you see a lot of quarterbacks, and they're the best quarterbacks in the world. What are they really good at? Maintaining momentum, maintaining a drive. So a lot of times a quarterback he'll audible into a 2-yard run or even a no gain run so that he doesn't take a 7-yard sack. Because ultimately the job is to not get to a 3rd and 15, lose all your momentum, have to punt. And if you can maintain your momentum, continue to get first downs, that's how you're gonna score a touchdown. So when we look at drinking on the weekends is the #1 way where you are going to destroy your momentum, where you do good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On top of that, you're also gonna have latency impacts on your recovery, on your anxiety, on your hunger hormones, and that's all going to be impacted from the weekend before. So you're really just doing this up and down, up and down. You're never able to establish momentum. For any of my entrepreneurs out there, if you're trying to build a business and build that momentum, a weekend drinking is one of the fastest ways to have you doubting yourself, to have you slow down the momentum that you had. And so really just always think, how can I optimize for momentum towards whatever that big goal is? And drinking is one of the fastest ways to slow down that momentum. If you don't have anything the next day, you're laying on a beach, you don't have anything going on, and you can just chill for 2 or 3 days, yeah, totally, go and enjoy yourself. I'm all for that. I really like to take the approach of how a Tom Brady or a professional athlete would approach drinking, where they drink after they win the Super Bowl or after they win the championship, because the job is done. And then they don't need to worry about anything the next week, the next few months after, because they've gone and climbed that mountain. They don't need to worry about it, so they go and get hammered. Next, after this, we're going to look at one thing. Now, this applies to a lot of different areas, but I'll talk about fitness first. If you are trying to do 3 different programs at the same time, you're doing none. If you're trying to run a marathon, build a bunch of muscle, lose a bunch of fat, you are doing none of those. Pick one thing, focus on that, honor the season that you are in, and you're going to be so much more successful in that endeavor. Same thing is gonna go for women. If you are trying to find a good girl to date, if you're trying to find a good guy to date, find one person and give them your attention and your focus. If you have 5 people that you're texting, you have no one, right? Same thing with a business. Anyone who has 5 side hustles, you have no business really at the end of the day. Take all of your focus, all of your energy, and focus it on one thing. Number 4, therapy, right? And the best way I've heard therapy talked about is something that Jocko talks about On the Jocko podcast, he calls it the mind mechanic. I'm messed up, right? We've all gone through different things, whether it's micro traumas, macro traumas, things that have impacted our life, impacted our neurochemistry. And all you're doing when you go to therapy, whether that is a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist, going and actually getting on medication, which I'm not a huge fan of, but if that's something that you do need, go that route so that you can get back to being off medication. But going to the mind mechanic is just like taking your car into the shop to get a tune-up. And if we've all gone through stuff, making sense of that and orchestrating and making those fine little adjustments so that you have the mental space, the mental clarity to then go and make the adjustment, have the awareness about what it is that is holding you back from a belief standpoint, from a habit standpoint, from an impulse control standpoint. Going to therapy is one of the most transformational things I've had from a relationship standpoint, going to couples therapy, from a personal standpoint, whether that's a coach, an actual therapist, that's enabled me to get awareness about myself. Once I have that awareness, I can go and make that change. And really it's the things that we have that are coping mechanisms that prevent us from losing weight, that prevent you from going to the gym and prevent you from getting into the routine that you want to, because you keep falling back into this pattern that is causing you to overeat, that is causing you to not sleep well and stay up watching TV, watching Netflix. So if you can get aware of those coping mechanisms through therapy, boom, it's gonna transform your life. It's gonna be something that helps you much, much more than just one session. Last thing, like for like. Like attracts like. What I mean by this is I remember spending 23, 24, 25, 26, frustrated that the circles that I had were not what I felt like I was capable of. I was looking at the women that I had dated, or I was looking at the friends that I had, and I was like, I feel like I'm capable of more. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I wasn't the person that would attract that. And so if you're not attracting what you want in your life from a personnel standpoint, from a culture standpoint, from a people standpoint, you got to look at yourself, because those people are going to want to have you in their circle if you are exuding that. And that's one of the biggest changes I've seen in my 28, 29, 30, 31 years is I've changed how I've operated. And so people that I want to be like are now seeing that and they're saying, I want to bring you into my circle. Quick tip on networking, and this is a really big one that I learned from Cole Gordon. You have the ability to either network, or you can be someone that provides so much value that people want you in their network, right? We've all seen that person who's going around handing out business cards, trying to go be buddy-buddy with someone at the gym. But if you're just the person in the gym that is exuding what people want, they are going to be attracted to you, right? Same thing with dating. If you want someone who is fit, who takes care of their health, right? Who's ambitious, well, you better be that first. You don't get promoted and then start doing the job. You do the job and then you get promoted. So really start to look in the mirror. Like attracts like. So one of the biggest things, I think, if you can just start to focus on you and become a high value person, then all of these things are gonna start to take care of themselves. But anyway, 5 things I wish I knew at 25. I'm about to turn 32 at the end of this week, so I wanted to make this. I got a couple younger brothers, and a lot of my clients are in this kind of life stage, right? Now I'm starting to get ready to have kids. A lot of my friends are having kids, and it's harder for them to go and build the body, the physique, the health that they want when they got to go and focus on their family, focus on their jobs, focus on other things. Establish these young, and you're gonna have a much better time, much easier time continuing to progress in your 30s and I assume 40s. Once I get there, I'll let you know. That's all. Thanks for watching. My name is Paul Klingen. This is Return of the Athlete. If you got value, hit that like and subscribe button. Drop any thoughts and comments down below, and I'll catch you on the next Return of the Athlete video.